I've been following your career since I was young. I stumbled across, as we were watching TV in the afternoons, this show called Living Single, and I was really drawn to, as a young man, just the honesty about our culture that you guys were able to put out there in that show in a way that was humorous and in a way that, even as a young person, it really spoke to me. It's been said that you were kind of the spokesperson of that cast. So, like, back in 1993, did you know how instrumental the cast that you were leading was going to be in shaping culture over the next really like few decades?
Well, I won't say that I was the leader of the cast.
Okay.
Uh, what I will say is that when we would have things that we would take to management, I would be the person that would distill it to as we, so everybody wasn't talking at once. I would explain what we were dealing with. That being said, I don't think any of us knew the magnitude it was going to have, but I think we all knew that it was something that was important, something that was different, something that was new for our culture, for our community. We hadn't seen those people before, and it was not. I think the natural extension after you had the Cosby Show, then you had Different World, and now you have the people that graduate from college. They're having their own businesses now. So I think that was a built-in audience for us. And with that audience was looking for the next chapter in that growth. And I think we provided that.
I would agree. And even as somebody who was not quite on the cusp of going into college, it felt like watching Living Single almost gave us permission to kind of be messy with the way that we grew up and honest about it in a way that maybe we couldn't before. And I can't thank you enough for that role. Now, looking back, so we're 30 years from when Living Single aired. Could a show like that be made in today's environment and still be that honest, do you think?
Yes. Yes, I think it could be. Again, it is all about, what the perfect word is, honesty.
Right.
When you're dealing with subjects in an honest way, there are going to be people that are not going to like it because it's going to rub them in a way where it's just not going to feel good, but it's going to be honest. And I think there are more people that appreciate honesty in art than not. I would much rather see something on screen that I could really relate to my personal experience, even if it's a hard experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that would be like, yeah, nah, that's not going to happen. you know. So I think it really is about art does imitate life, but life doesn't necessarily imitate art.
Your abilities, your talents allow you to traverse a lot of different mediums, whether it's vocal acting, whether it is stage performance with your music. How do you approach those characters differently whenever it is you that is on screen? You were just nominated for an NAACP Image Award because of the work that you did with A Wesley Family Christmas. Like, what is that like being completely on stage? Does it feel like more exposed when it's you as you are versus, doing music where there's other people that are there to support you or playing a character? Talk to us about that process for you.
Good question.
Well, it's all when I think about the work, when you think about music versus theater versus film and television versus voiceover work, the root of it is all script. So all of it is, there's a framework for it. The execution is different. And so I prep differently for theater than I do for film and television. Theater is a much more strenuous activity. So my prep takes a lot more time. Uh, Film and television, it really is about knowing what it is so you don't have to think about it. Well, it really is all about knowing what it is so you don't have to think about it. Even voiceover work, even when you have the words in front of you, you still want to be able to not have to, is that an and or, I can't see. So sometimes I'm sitting there trying to read them. Oh. And I can't read, you know, But if I know it, then I don't have to read it. I can just do it, you know. And that's the thing with theater as well. You don't want to be on stage trying to remember lines. You want to be on stage in the moment of what the moment is. In film and television, it's a little bit of both. You want to be in the moment, but you also know that way, 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 way back in your mind, you know that if you f it up, you can do it over.
Right.
You can have
You know,
infinite attempts.
Yeah.
yeah, you can, and that depends on the director as well, because some directors, one and done, let's go. Yeah, we got the shot. I'm sorry, your performance wasn't what you wanted, but we got the shot. Let's move on. So it pays to be prepared whenever you do what you do. Um, I think the moving between disciplines is a uh, character trait of artists that are my age.
Okay.
Because back in the day, you had to be able to sing, dance, act, and roller skate on the ceiling in order to be considered for a job. So you made yourself do everything, try to do as well as you could in everything. I think I do better in some than others. I know I have more fun in some than others, but I try to do my best in all of them when I can.
Well, that's a great answer, and I think I am most familiar with your work, your vocal work, which I think is fantastic. With Mace Windu, I think I am curious on how you got so close, because it sounds almost at times that it's exactly like Sam Jackson. How do you crack a voice like that?
Our timbres are similar,
Okay.
and because I'm a musician, it's about, can you make the sound?
Okay.
Can you make the sound? What does it take to make the sound, and where does he place it in order to get the register where he is? And so as a vocalist, to be able to manipulate the voice and find out, oh, it sits there. And once you figure out where it sits, then it's about cadence. What is his rhythm? How does he, and just copying. Right on, Sam.
Well,
Just
Yeah.
copy.
what are your I'm curious, what are your favorite lines from Sam Jackson? Are there any that you went, okay, these are the 10 I'm going to just hit over and over and over and figure it out? Or is it just comprehensive?
Would you like me to be real honest right now?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I don't remember none of that.
That's great.
That's amazing.
There's so much information that has to come in. There's when you're auditioning, when you're learning new scripts, when you're doing voiceover work and other stuff too. There's so many words that come in. You don't really hold on to them. You have to make space.
Yeah.
Get it, you hold it, you use it, you toss it.
You're a busy man.
Yeah.
In addition to Mace Windu,
Yes.
we've got Kratos, which is definitely a personal favorite of mine. You too. So I think that the character Kratos owes a lot of his swagger to your portrayal. So I'm curious, what was your process with creating one that hadn't been, this character had never been portrayed? What was your process in coming up with that?
I think it was a collaborative thing with the director and myself. Just really talking about what was his motivation? Why was he who he was? Where did the pain come from, and why is it like that? And why does he want to kill his father? What is a why? What is his why? And we spent a lot of time on the why. And at the time when I first started doing Kratos, I was traversing a lot of stuff in Hollywood, and family and things were happening that I had no control over. And I could use that with Kratos because there were times that he felt he didn't have any control over it. So to be able to tap into those things that are going on in your life, and even though they're hard and difficult, can you use them to create something that's going to be beneficial for you? And so be able to take those things and weave them into this character and have that pain and that angst be able to come through for people that play the game is cool. It's kind of why we do what we do.
Yeah, it's kind of a newer thing. I
Right.
mean, in the grand scheme of things, having instead of the Mario Brothers guy jumping on
Right. Yeah, there
bricks,
wasn't a lot of
really
vocal
have
work for Pong.
yeah, you have a deep character you can connect with emotionally, like Kratos. And that's continued on till now. That there's so many good games out there, but Kratos is one of the OGs for sure of that.
Yeah, and he's very genre defining, and it sounds like he was almost kind of a therapeutic character for you in some ways because of the things that you were going through. When you look at that storyline from God of War, the beginning, to God of War 3, where he does have this triumph over Zeus, where he kills his father, and whether metaphorically or analogous for you, do you feel like that story in its completion helped you to overcome some of those things as the voice behind it?
I think at that time, it was really thick.
Mm-hmm.
It was really thick around what was going on. So I don't know if it was kind of cathartic for me at that time or not. I don't think it got to be that until I was finished.
Okay.
Yeah, he is. He's an interesting person. Aside from his ability to do maim and mayhem,
Right.
Besides the
I feel
muscles,
Yeah.
Drake does have he's a real person. He's a father. He was a husband. He all those things mattered to him. He didn't want to do what he was doing, but he felt compelled to do what he was doing. And I think a lot of us in life don't want to do the things we're doing, but we feel compelled to do them, so we do them for our good or for our bad.